welcome to Love Success. I'm your host Laurie, and today we're talking about how to love yourself with using cognitive behavioral therapy. So let's start. So the goal is to 5 concrete CBT techniques that I will use to help you build your self-love and tie to the mind the healthy mindset. Be honest with yourself, really. If a friend spoke to you in a way that inner voice says, would you be still friends, or would you have that struggle? It's awkward, eh? And today I'm going to show you what CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy based techniques that actually changes how you can actually change that. So without further ado, let's actually start changing and talk about this. Not empty affirmations, but with motherhood that has backed by decades of psychology and research. Let's get into it a lot more than we expect, because this is going to help you out and are more likely to get you in a state where you really respect yourself. Self-love gets thrown around, and that's common. And it's about bubble baths. It isn't really about all that. You know, even though, yes, it's self-care, it's self-love in some ways, and treating yourself, but real self-love is meaning the mental mindset of how we think about ourselves. It isn't manufacturers. It's a skill you build, and cognitive behavioral therapy gives us one of the most practical ways and toolkit for building it. So CBT is built on a simple idea. And that idea, our thoughts, our shape, our feelings, and our feelings shape our actions, right? So we want to actually really want to feel differently about ourselves, and we want to examine the thoughts that's going through our minds, running through, and really showing us what's going on. Self-love isn't feeling you manufacture, it's a skill you build in time, but you will feel pretty good about it one day at some point. So, why self-love feels so hard? Well, that's a good question, right? Well, CBT is used for many things, something called cognitive triangle. Mostly, sometimes for me, it's a circle, really. It's no different. However, thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are all connected in a loop. And that loop goes round and round unless we change the whole concept of the negative one. Picture this. You make a mistake at work, and the thought that pops up in your mind, I always mess things up, you know? And that thought creates shame, that feeling of shame, that thought. And that brings up the negative behavior. So shame makes you avoid things in your inbox for the rest of the day, and avoiding it becomes the proof that you're doing a bad job. And that's the loop. That's not healthy loop. So it's not that something bad has happened. It's the automatic pilot that is attached to us, hijacking everything downstream. And that's not healthy. So the key concept of this is cognitive triangle. Thoughts, feelings, behavior reinforces the thought, and break the loop anywhere, that whole pattern starts to shift. And when you actually most self-criticize yourself, and it runs on handful, predictable thinking pattern that is not ideal, it's not healthy, it's CBT, caused cognitive distortion. And you don't need to memorize all of these things, but just notice these 4 things that become constantly in your mind, and we talk about this. So, all or nothing, I fail at this, I'm a failure, when you're not. Mind reading, they probably think I'm annoying. I'm just an annoying idiot. Should I statement? I should be further along by now. Labeling, I'm just broken too much. Once you can name the pattern, it loses so much of its grip, and it stops feeling like a truth, and you reconstruct that behavior like a habit. You once interrupt it and continue to interrupt it until it changes. So when you keep doing that behavior of changing that, the more you will improve. So technique 1 is catch, check, and change. This is where the core move of CBT comes into the concept of it's simple enough to use the moment, catch the thought, literally notice it, and then write it down, check it, ask yourself those questions. What's the evidence? And ask yourself many questions to go with it. Catch, I'm terrible at this. Why? Why do you think that? Is it true? Check the truth. And change, I'm still learning, and that's allowed. I'm only human, right? So technique 2, the simple self-compassion break. This one comes to psychologist Kristin Neff, and the research on self-compassion pairs with beautifully to CBT. So when you notice you're struggling, and pause and say 3 things to yourself, and this is the moment of difficulty. Struggling is a part of being a human, and may I be kind to myself right now. And it sounds small, but it interrupts that small shame part, that spiraling, that momentum of it, the negative behavior. Technique 3 is the evidence log. Really just try and reconstructing that behavior. Deeper rooted beliefs, I'm unlovable, I'm not good enough, a single reframe that won't cut it. Reconstructing the mindset, evidence log, running it and writing it down. Is it true or is it not? And really looking at these in a different perspective. Now, technique 4, values based on self-care, is self-love isn't internal or external either. It's it's really into our mindsets, how we believe ourselves, and it shows up and chooses to do CBT calls the behavioral activation. Instead of waiting to feel worthy, before you rest, connect, and set boundary, you are in line with the values first. And what you value, that's your boundaries. And feeling often follows pick on value, rest, honesty, connection, and take small actions towards it today. Because for me, when I go and do the technology for the church, I end up basically being proud of myself that I did the job. I did my best and, tried very hard. So it all comes down to things. So let's bring it together, catch the thought, check it against the evidence, and changing it into something that accurate, and self-compassion breaks when things feel heavy, and keep the evidence logged, and for the big beliefs, and let your actions reflect the values, not just your mood. That's love. Build on thought and a time where, if you want to actually practice instead of watching it, I put together many things, and probably workbooks on about trauma, how to face it. I've also created technology. So it really comes down to actually reading my blog and really finding something that works for you. And do you even want a coaching session? I help people who have been through trauma, especially if the loss of a loved one, through tragedy of suicide. And if you are feeling suicidal, reach out for help, because we cannot do this on our own. It's just reality. And really find what works for you. If it helped, subscribe, and for more CBT based tools, so for your everyday life, and I'll see you on the next one. So keep going, my friend.